I'm trying to think, like, was there a Jim Carrey movie or something where he like lives a very rote life and then something makes him realize that life is fleeting?
Yes, man. I'm pretty sure it's probably what you're referencing.
Maybe it's Yes Man, where
It's
it's
like
like, go ahead.
hmm, there you go.
I feel like if someone almost died and then he's like brought back and he has to set things in order or something, and then he's like, okay, I'm ready to die, and then he's given a last minute reprieve and he actually doesn't have to die and he can just go on enjoying his life.
I can't remember the specifics. I just remember that Yes Man, the whole premise is like, uh, yeah, I think it's like Jim Carrey is like living this like life where he's saying no to things, he's closed off, he's kind of losing his relationships. Something happens. I think it's like kind of supernatural in like origin,
Yeah,
or some, yeah, so, like you would say, a qualifying life event happens, and he's compelled to then say yes to every offer that comes along, and it opens up his life, and he realizes like, oh my gosh, like look how full life can be, and look at all there is to experience, and then obviously there's a ring like it, the fates twist, something happens where he kind of takes on too much, and then he learns like, oh, you should say yes, but sometimes you should say no. Balance.
yeah.
Life is life, you know.
Ah,
Ah, I'm Jim
right.
Carrey. Yes.
I'm Jim Carrey, and I'm teaching you a valuable lesson. I would try to
Yeah.
do a Jim Carrey impression, but it's just like it's too late today, and
Yeah.
uh, it's too. I watched a Jim Carrey movie recently, and I'm like, this guy is so of his time. There's like no one else like him in this current timeline.
Which one did you watch?
We watched Liar Liar.
That's yeah, that's one that I know like clips from. I've never seen. Was it good?
Yeah, it's good. Um, I think Yes Man and The God One are my two favorites.
Bruce Almighty.
Bruce
Yeah.
Almighty. That one is
Yeah.
my shiz. Um, as I don't know. Do you like Jim Carrey? Do you think he's funny, or where do you fall on the spectrum? Also, Cable Guy is good.
Cable Guy's really
Oh
good.
wait, what am I saying? Also, Truman Show. What the
Truman
fuck?
Show. He is it's like him and Robin Williams, I think, are the two kings of
Yeah,
comedy of the 90s. I think they're like I mean, I know Williams was, I know they're both active in like the 80s and stuff like that, but I feel like really they defined like kind of 90s comedy and culture. That's like when they both reached their zenith. And I think like Carrie is like so, I was watching, like I was going through scrolling through Instagram, and a reel came up, and I've actually said this before, but I'm glad to hear other people saying it too, where it was a clip from some podcast where somebody is talking about like how modern comedy movies can sometimes feel like a bunch of just like quips, like just funny lines that the actors say, whereas like what differentiates like that kind of comedic performance, a mediocre one, from the really great ones is like Jim Carrey was like actually a performer. He wasn't just a comedian. In fact, his like stand-up comedy arguably isn't that good. Like it's just him like doing impressions and being pretty wacky on stage. But Carrey was one of those guys where he had like such a level of commitment, where he
right.
so just clearly enjoyed like doing what he was doing, where it's like it should have been like creepy, and maybe in some cases it kind of reads as that, but I think more than anything it really just comes off as like supremely endearing and like really captivating to watch. So I really admire him as a performer. Like I think he's amazing.
You know what's interesting? I would even say that like in our era, we couldn't even appreciate it because it's like it would just be cringe. It
Yeah.
would be too extra. And I feel like there is a clear uh there's like a genealogy at work with cringe and extra. And it's just like one led to the other. And it's like as soon as something came extra, it was like too sincere and like trying too hard and
I think
it became unacceptable.
I think it would play because there is a lot of absurdist humor that you'll find on Instagram. Like I could see like for sure modern teenage boy audiences resonating. Like, did you ever see the Ace Ventura
I did. That
movies?
was cringe
Yeah,
for me. Sorry.
really. Yeah.
Back when it came out, I was just like, this is too annoying. Like,
It
I never went for that. Like Mr. Bean stuff too. You know who
yeah.
I'm talking about? I was like,
Yeah.
this is lame. Uh, but the Yes Man stuff, the where it's like interspersed
Yeah.
sporadically and it's not his whole character, I think it's funny.
The
Uh,
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, not a comedy, but still like very much like
no,
an
it's just
exercise in sincerity, you
amazing
know.
movie. Yeah.
Um yeah, okay, I kind of see what you're saying. I could see where something like Bruce Almighty is very like gag driven,
Yeah.
but then it is still also like yeah, you still gotta kind of care about the characters, and there's a moral at the end of the lesson or at the end of the movie, and it's something that like a lot of modern comedy movies, like I think one of the more recent modern comedies I've really seen, other than the Naked Gun like remake, is which funny, you know, funny,
Hey,
like
that movie
enjoyable.
fucking I almost never laugh out loud. And I was there were a couple of moments where I thought this is good shit. I
Yeah.
actually, oh man, I still say this to people like man's laughter must have been some joke.
Yeah. I just I, I just love the shot of him like standing in the dark corner of the interrogation room with those haunted eyes, like after the video footage of him like shitting his pants because of a chili cheese dog.
Yeah.
Everybody looking at him, be like, "Oh my god!" And him being like, "I'd five more that day." It's just like it's so good, but
And like
uh,
that's what I mean. Like I feel like those the way they shot that type of movie or the way they like wrote for that type of movie back then was so not good. Like I feel like Naked Gun, the way they released it this this year, God, how do I say that in a coherent way? Like
yeah,
the
this
Naked
time
Gun
around.
we got is much
Mhm.
more polished, and the Naked Gun, Airplane, Lethal, what was the movie called? Dangerous Weapon. What was the satirized version of it? Anyway, it was just not good.
Yeah.
It's too slapstick, and it's too like it's too low. Everything is low hanging fruit. Don't Shirley, don't call me Shirley. I'd shoot myself.
Airplane, I will defend some parts because there are really funny like performances and cutaways, but I think on the
Yeah.
whole, you're kind of correct. One of my favorite cutaway gags in film is the bit where like the control tower people are like, "This isn't right. This isn't right." Like they're miles off course, and like somebody in the tower is like, well, how can that be? They're all flying on instruments, and it cuts to the cockpit. They're all like playing, like they're like a
Oh,
band, like a New
they're
Orleans
on like
like jazz
congas.
band, and it's like, okay, that's like that's it's so there are some parts that are so stupid. The drinking problem. I had a drinking problem, and he's in a seedy bar. He has a full thing of beer, and he just throws it in his face, and it's like that's funny. That's like
Yeah,
that's
that's
but
funny.
there are no like honestly watching the Naked Gun with you when we got back, it's like yeah, like there are parts where this is funny, but it's too yeah, it's just a little yeah, kind of it doesn't hit at least in the way that I remember it having like hit before. And
Yeah.
to the modern era's credit, I will say that like one excellent example of like modern humor that is like that without being totally derivative is like I would say if you've ever seen like the Lego movie or 21 Jump Street, like I
Hmm.
do those like Phil Lord and Chris Miller, like those type of movies really funny. Genuinely like great comedy. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is another one they did. Again, I know that those are like that's a kids movie, but it's like sharp, it's quick, it's got like really good gags, but it's also really well written, like funny stuff. So comedy, like good comedy can be done, but I do think that like you're right where the 90 like the 90s, early 2000s, like Jim Carrey style stuff that was this balance of like kind of sentimentality, but then also this like absurdist humor is that would be a huge demand on audience. And I don't I think like modern audiences or the audiences of today, it's not that they're dumb and it's not that they're smart. It's just that they're kind of sometimes like smarter than they think. And I think they would see something like that and be like, well, that's, really, did they even try, or whatever. I don't know.